Good morning, everyone. It is a Saturday morning, and today we have a potluck dinner at our church. So I know that I've told you I have not been doing a lot of processed foods, but I still have a complete full kitchen of all different things, of regular foods, and I asked on video whether or not you wanted to have all high protein, low carb, or regular foods as well that I bring to the public world. This is a shortcut great for a potluck, and I wanted to share it with you. It kind of like that chicken cobbler I did a few weeks ago with the Red Lobster biscuits. It's not necessarily stuff that I eat on my new diet lifestyle, but it is something that my family would have eaten or will eat, and they love it. Not my husband. So it's called, well, actually I got the inspiration from one of my passionate penny pincher recipes, but I've made it my own over the years. It's a pesto tortellini bake, and it was one of her recipes originally, but then of course I had to take it and Loriize it. I look at recipes and then I make them my own. So normally when I made this, I used leftover shredded rotisserie chicken. So if you made a rotisserie chicken, or you have leftover chicken, that works scrumptious in here. If you are vegetarian or meat free, then you leave the chicken out. The recipe doesn't have any chicken. The recipe doesn't have any broccoli. So mine is going to be a tortellini. I'm using a foil pan because I'm bringing it to our church. In fact, I'm going to spray this. Just one sec. So it's a tortellini bake, and it literally, you put the tortellini in frozen. We'll go through it. Hopefully you could see. I'm going to try to work where you could see. I'll put it down a little bit, and hopefully you can hear me. And it's a busy Saturday, like all my Saturdays have been. So I'm going to get this done early, put the foil on it, but not bake it till it's time to go. So what I'm starting with, unfortunately, because I don't have rotisserie chicken, is a can of chicken, because I use this for chicken wing dip, and we'll make that one day. Have you made chicken wing dip where you take the canned chicken and cream cheese and cheddar cheese and hot sauce? We'll make it one day, and it comes out delicious. So I didn't have any rotisserie chicken, so you can see I'm just breaking up the chicken pieces into smaller bite size, because when I mix all the tortellini, which you don't cook, you're going to put it in frozen. Her original recipe calls for it to be a freezer meal, so you can make this ahead of time and you can put it in the freezer. If you're a family of 2 like I am right now, you would split that in half, because I've done that. The rest, so I'm terrible, because I look at recipes and I get ideas, but I don't, as I told you before, I don't necessarily follow recipes. So this recipe didn't have chicken in it. I'm just trying not to use my fingers. I know that it's probably a much easier tool. So next thing I'm going to put in this, let's see, what do I want to put next? So it calls for 2 jars of Alfredo sauce. So these are 2 different, but they're both from Aldi's. This one's creamy Alfredo. This one is roasted garlic Alfredo. I had them in my pantry. They're going in. So you do 2 jars, and that opened pretty easily. Now, I'm sure you know this trick. There's still a lot of stuff in that jar. So I take a little of my pitcher of water, maybe a little more, maybe 1/3 of a cup, and then I close my jar and I shake it up, because there was also a lot in the top. Now the top is clean, and then I use that liquid, and the jar is more cleaned out. There's really nothing in there now. So that's one. Then when you, the second one, I want you to know, I showed you my can opener trick. In case those jars didn't open, you would have gone under that. Well, I'll show you again. So when you look at the bottom of a jar, there are spots that are bare. You take your can opener and you click right in there, and you'll hear the pop. But this jar opened easily for me. So that's jar number 2. They have a completely different color, but together they're going to be delicious. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in this jar, a little bit more. There's a lot of flavor in this, and you'll see why in about 2 minutes. Shake it up. The top is clear, and the jar is clear. So we're gonna start mixing. Here's where the flavor comes from. Again, Aldi's pesto. Her recipe calls for a whole jar. To me, that's overwhelming. Pesto is delicious. I'm gonna start with 3 tablespoons, which I've already used this for another recipe, and there's still about a little less than a half a jar left. Let's start with that, mix it in. I'll know by the color. If you love pesto and want the whole jar, I think her whole, oh, I just made a mess. Yep, she has a whole jar. I'm sorry, a half a cup. A half a cup of pesto, which is, this is 6 ounces, so a little less than a jar she calls for. Boy, did I make a mess. Man overboard over here. So we've got, just all I got in here right now is 2 jars of Alfredo sauce, pesto, and chicken. So I'm going to throw in, well, not throw in, I'm going to check it out. I have my scissors ready. I want little pieces of broccoli. So I've steam freshed broccoli florets, and I'm going to cut them into little bite-sized pieces so that nobody gets a giant flower. It could take a while looking at this though, so I'll see. You could put spinach, you could put sun-dried tomatoes, you could put mushrooms, you could put whatever you like in your food. You can leave your veggies out. So in the end of all of this, you're going to have a 1-pot dish that bakes up deliciousness, and you're going to think what I have to do at the end is really crazy. What I'm doing at the end is, I made a video of a pita pizza yesterday, and I was out of mozzarella cheese, which I still am, and I used cheese sticks, mozzarella cheese sticks. So this recipe calls for mozzarella shredded cheese in it. I don't have it. I have the parm, and I have a lot of cheese sticks. So I'm going to put the parm in, mix it around, and top it off with some parm and some cheese sticks. It's still getting the mozzarella cheese, but I'm using all my sticks up for this. Am I talking too fast? So it's chicken, broccoli, Alfredo sauce, 2 jars, 3 tablespoons of pesto, garlic's going in, and I'll show you. I don't normally use the jar of garlic from a store. I'm a smasher of my garlic. I like fresh garlic. What do you like? Tell me what you like. How about you like closing my cabinet? But for shortcuts and for videos especially, I would say using the jarred garlic for a recipe like this is going to give it a lot of flavor without a lot of labor. Let me see what's left in here. Not much. That's it. So now we're going to stir that around. Let me get the garlic. It's right on my fridge. So if I were out of fresh garlic, which I'm not, I would use the garlic and oil. I'm not out of it, but I didn't get it prepared. So we're gonna do, it says 2 cloves. So to me, 2 cloves is gonna be 2 forkfuls, like that. Now, we're almost done with this recipe. So I've got chicken, broccoli, Alfredo, pesto, garlic. Let me just mix this around. It's going to seem strange because the tortellini are going to go in frozen solid. Frozen. And then they're ready. This is a 19-ounce bag. What does she call for? 1 pound. So 1 pound is 16 ounces. So I guess this is more than a pound. But they're going in. And they will be fine, even though they don't look fine, they will be. And then I've got a lot of shredded parm. Like I said, I'm going to also top it off with cheese sticks. I'm going to chop them all up. Do your hands work? At what age did your hands stop working, if they stopped? What did you do to help them? I can't make a fist. I can cut with scissors. I especially can't use them wet on a plastic bag. So I can only imagine opening all the cheese sticks later. I'm putting a lot of parm in. Now, as I said, this is going to go to church with me later. Our dinner is not until 4 o'clock. We have a football game before then. So I think I'm gonna par-bake it this morning and then come back and heat it up later before we go to the church. So does this look like, can you see it? Oh my gosh, I can't lift it now. Just a second. Let me get it all mixed in. I think it's gonna be really delicious, and I think my son and family would love it. They are invited. It is a potluck dinner, so nobody knows what anybody brings. And this is stuff that I had on hand without having to go to the store, and I've already explained to you I live really super far from any stores. At least to me I do. My husband has been here his whole life, so he's used to living here. I'm a city chick, in case you haven't figured that out already. Oh, it's looking good, girls and boys. It's looking flavorful. It's looking delicious. And here's what I'm also going to do. I am not coming home with the leftovers. So I'm not sure who the lucky designated person will be. But they're not coming home with me because I would eat this. The old Lori would love this. The new Lori, it's not that I don't love it and I can't have it, because I can. All right, here we go. Chicken, tortellini, pesto, bake with broccoli, Alfredo. I think you should smell it. It smells delicious. We're gonna go through it real quick. 2 jars of Alfredo sauce. This was 1 can of chicken. I broke it all up, you watched. 1 steam fresh bag of broccoli, florets, 3 tablespoons of pesto, and 1 bag of tortellini. Every one of these objects except for the tortellini were bought at Aldi's. It's not expensive to make this, so let's figure it out. It's $3 for the chicken. Each jar of Alfredo might be 2, so that's 5, 7. The pesto, I've already done 3 meals. There's still some left. Let's just put $1 on there, 8. And then the tortellini, for probably possibly around $10, $11, you're gonna feed a lot of people because this weighs a ton. So remember, I'm gonna put mozzarella cheese, foil, bake it. Let's see what she says. Well, hers is a freezer meal, so she would have split this in. I would split this into, put them in little foils and freeze them. She would do this whole thing and stick it in the freezer right now. When it was time to take it out, you would, to cook from frozen, preheat oven to 375, remove your plastic wrap, which we're not going to have on here, and bake 15 minutes. Remove foil for additional 10 minutes for it to brown and bubble. I am not cooking it from frozen, but I am going to cover it with foil because those are frozen tortellini. They're not going to take long, and I'll post how long because I've made this before, but I didn't write it down. Chicken tortellini pesto bake with broccoli. I will post it. You guys, happy Saturday. Love you.